We've had a very good exchange today. It's not just an exchange this morning, but it's the culmination of a process which has taken several months in the party, discussing in the branches, in the districts, amongst our activists, with our friends, and finally here today together to make presentations and have an exchange of views. I think the process has been valuable, as you heard the speaker from Central Districts express just now, and the results show that there has been an understanding of the subject and minds have been applied, and I think we have a better appreciation of what is involved. It is a good time, an important time for us to have this conversation. It's a national conversation. We are doing it at many levels in many different groups and organizations, but also as a conversation within the party for our party members to discuss with ourselves what are our contributions to this national dialogue and what we are looking for in the PAP as we go forward. The world is changing. The future is going to be very different, and Singapore will be very different. It's either going to be very different better or very different worse. It's either going to be very different better or very different worse. It's not going to be more or less the same and we're more or less okay. And we have to choose which way we are going to go. So it's good that we are discussing the issues on government, on individual versus society, on taxation, on the party, on how to stay connected locally but globally competitive. All significant issues. One point which perhaps we could have spent more time on, or one context which perhaps we could have spent more time on today, but I'm sure you would have considered during your earlier discussions, is the overall context in which we find ourselves, Singapore. Where are we? We are not in a vacuum. We are not in the middle of the South Pacific, an island with a blue lagoon. We are Singapore in Asia at the beginning of the 21st century. The world around us makes a big difference to our future. The way the world is changing and will change over the next 20 years makes a big difference to our future. We didn't discuss China today. We didn't talk about India. We didn't talk about issues like the South China Sea, which is preoccupying quite a lot of countries worried about peace and security in Southeast Asia. But these are issues which set the context for where we are going and what we can do, and which is the correct setting to make on our different policies. Maybe it's because we are in Singapore and everything looks peaceful and calm. But if you are elsewhere in the region, I think your attitude would be different. I just read today in the Straits Times, I think it's about to, that we have been having national conversations also in Beijing and Shanghai. Sim Ann is there, and together with the our ambassador Stanley Loh, they had a conversation with the Singaporeans there, studying, working. They spent 4 hours, and there was a summary in the newspapers. You should read it. And it was striking to me how conscious the Singaporeans were in China of what was happening in China. The competitiveness, the drive, the changes which are taking place, the implications for us. One 20-year-old girl said, I've been studying Chinese all my life. I thought that was very good. I came here, I realized that people who have only been here 3-4 years, they are also foreigners, but their Chinese is much better than mine. And another person who said, the Singaporeans, I used to think there's such a burden and such hard work to learn mother tongue, but now I'm grateful the government made me do it. So that's what it means when you say, do the right thing and don't be populist. So for today, I think we need to be aware of what's happening in the world around us, what's China's rise, what that means for Asia and the world. We need to know what's going to happen, or at least have some thought what's going to happen over the next 20, 30 years in the world. Nobody can know for sure. Is it peace? Is it instability? Is it prosperity? Is it recession? What is a technology change? Today we are all on iPhones and iPads. In 10 years' time, this will be very old hat. I don't know what we will be. We'll be wearing spectacles, and when I look at you, your whole CV will come up. Completely possible. Google has Google Glass. Microsoft has a patent. They've just published it. You look at the football field and all the names, you know who's going to play and who's going to score. So, in such a world, can we stay still? Can we just go whatever we feel we would like to do without paying attention to these big trends? I think that would be very unwise. We talked about some of this, especially, I think, Southwest, talking about globally competitive, locally connected. But I think that we would benefit a lot by paying more attention to these external trends. And then we can see our own situation a little bit better. In such a world, nothing is unchangeable. Our principles, our values, I think those we will be very slow to abandon or to shift from. But our policies, our measures, I think those you must update, you must revise, and we must look at it afresh. New situation, new problem, new solution. You can look at this in two ways. One of the panels, I think was either Northeast or Northwest, said, yesterday's achievement is today's expectations. That's, in a way, the government's problem. Housing for Singaporeans, 90% living in home ownership. Everybody has a roof, almost. It's a great achievement, but it's also a very high baseline because now people expect that. And the aim is not just a roof, but a better roof. Bigger than my parents, if possible. More valuable. At least after I have bought it, it should become more valuable. Faster. That is where we are. Let's start from there and move forward. It's a drive to improve, but at the same time, sometimes it's pressure which is not easy to meet. But there's also the other aspect. Yesterday's solution can become today's problem, as one of the participants just now pointed out. You do the right thing today, tomorrow the situation changes, or you've done too much of it, you need to change policies, because what worked yesterday no longer works today. In a recession, we reduce the foreign workers levy because we want to reduce costs for employers. Recession is over, not so easy to raise the foreign worker levy back. Foreign worker levy is too low. We have more influx of foreign workers than we would like to have. It becomes a problem. So, what do? Do we do nothing? You can't. For now, for the best of our judgment, this is the right thing to do. Let's proceed. But be prepared to rethink and to calibrate again when the situation changes. I think that's the way to stay successful and to stay able to serve Singaporeans for a long time.